Okay, so it's January 2023, and making this first video in a few months just to kind of update everything that's happened the past 4 months. So again, where are we going? How did we get here? What's the update for the past 4 months, and what's going to happen the next few months? We are headed towards a resolution of this conflict between NATO and Russia. Simply put, the only resolution can be regime change in either one. Either Russia has regime change or NATO has regime change. How did we get here? Well, NATO basically had a free hand in the 90s and early 2000s, and Russia was weak, everyone was weak, so NATO was able to do whatever it wanted. Russia rearmed and started intervening in other countries. NATO didn't like this. NATO set a trap for Russia that Russia walked right into, and here we are. Ukraine was a trap for Russia, and Russia couldn't ignore it. Russia had to intervene. The main thing that people overlook is Syria. Russia intervened in Syria. NATO really didn't like this because NATO doesn't want somebody else to intervene in other countries. NATO wants to run the entire world and doesn't like competition. So Russian intervention in Syria led to this war in Ukraine. Now, where are we in the war in Ukraine? 2 armies have been destroyed by Russia. A 3rd army is about to be created and take the field, or it's in the process of being created. Those first 2 armies were Soviet-based armies, and they were using equipment from the Soviet times, Soviet era, and they were both destroyed by Russia. The 1st army was created to take over Donetsk and Luhansk, and Russia destroyed that in a couple of months. And then the 2nd army was created out of surplus equipment from Eastern Europe that was destroyed in Kherson and Kharkiv, and now Ukraine needs a 3rd army, and they cannot get Soviet equipment because the West doesn't have any more Soviet equipment, and Ukraine doesn't have any more Soviet equipment, so they have to use NATO equipment, NATO tanks, NATO planes, NATO artillery systems. This is going to be run by NATO soldiers. NATO is not going to turn all this over. Even if they did, Ukrainians wouldn't know how to use it. It would take too long to figure out how to use it. So it's going to be a NATO army. There's going to be a NATO army in Western Ukraine in the next few months. I'd say February, March, it's going to be clear that Poland is going to lead the charge of having a NATO army in Western Ukraine. This army is going to come under attack by the Russians, and we're going to have a full-scale war, short nuclear, not nuclear, but everything else, between NATO and Russia. This war will be quick, hopefully, because neither side really has the population density that we had back in World War II of young men. So hopefully this will be a short war. It won't go nuclear. Both sides will come to a conclusion the end of this year, I'd say. NATO will be ended as an institution because a lot of countries are not going to be involved. I want to be involved in this on the NATO side, and the EU also be ended. So we're going to have a completely different global system by the end of this year, I would say. This means no more Euro. I'd say also no more UK because the UK is going to be involved in this. There's going to be both currencies are going to fall against the dollar. The dollar is going to be stronger, I'd say, and gold will be stronger against everything. So this is where we were, where we're headed, and I hope everybody who watches this gets something out of it. It's going to be interesting to look back on a year and see if any of this actually came true. Anyways, I hope everybody has a good new year. Thank you.